you have to say.
Yeah, so I'm so glad that you did. All right, so I'm going to push this mic over towards y'all this way, and it should pick up on everybody for the most part.
Yeah. I can project, it's fine.
Yeah, so I've started the podcast now, and just to kind of catch up where we are, we just had temple service about the eight spoke on the Noble Eightfold Path, which is right concentration. So we're just gonna get right into it and just see what you guys thought about it. Any things that that you find that are have been hindrances in the past. Certain ways that we can move past that. If we can collectively, share some insight with each other, I think it's going to help everyone on your practice because in the power of the mind to be able to be the controller of that and not let technology and everything going on around us control that. It's just a really powerful skill to learn in your life that will carry you so very far. So just thank y'all for coming today, by the way. So yes, absolutely. So I want to start with Quinn. Quinn, would you like to give us a little feedback about today and any insights you may have?
I think I just going back to that struggle and stuff like that. Just like for me, the struggle is like the putting things off at times. Like if I'm doing something else or like I'm distracted in some way, I often I'm just like, oh, I can do that later. Like I'm like, oh well, maybe I'll do it in the morning or something like that. Usually, I just at that point, I put it off to the next day entirely.
Yeah, and I think everybody can understand that at some point. And that's part of the work that we're doing here is getting to a point in our discipline to where we're like, this is so important for me. Like this is just as much, we wake up when we brush our teeth because we don't want our teeth to fall out and rot out, So with meditation, it's like, if you can think of it as if I'm not in control of my mind, who is then? So it is so important to make sure that we are able to master the power of the mind and not let it be roaming off to negative thoughts because we are creators, and if our thoughts are thinking negative constantly, we're creating our reality and drawing in more experience of that. So the more that we can be focused on this and dedicate to get better in our practice, the more control we have over the reality that meets us from day to day.
Right, like that just reminded me of something I've heard on another podcast before about someone was talking about a roommate they had who was a cancer and had a lot of negative tendencies with negative thoughts, and a lot of bad stuff was happening, and that just sort of perpetuated that cycle. They kept thinking negatively about the things that were going to happen, and then it was like they saw that happen, and they're like, see, that's what I expected. It's that kind of cycle that they were stuck in.
Yeah, exactly. So moving around the couch here, does anybody want to jump in and maybe you can start with bringing up when we talked in temple service about the hindrances that we have, and we can start maybe there. Would you like to start?
Every day is kind of a journey, and getting to certain things, getting them complete is obstacle. That's something that I've been struggling with, but at the same time, I'll do it. There's so much, and then the stress becomes a lot. I have surroundings and a lot of stress people around me. I like to keep what's close to me. mindfulness on you. It's about learning how to help them at the same time. Kind of like somebody told me about energy vampires. You have that good aura. It's a real thing. That good flow, good thing. People want that. They want that. And a lot of people, they're not like that. They rely on, they're very stressed, rely on muscle care that draw here's it. That's good and everything. It's good to help others.
Yeah.
It's good. And I've been learning a lot on but that me. And this is really the break. Always, this really helping us deal with that inner heart circle, our feel a lot of stuff that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
I tend to, that's what I was saying earlier, I tend to just got finished with 10 things. And you're just like, then other people bombard you with 20 other things. It's like, oh, you got it. Especially if you're have a one track mind, yeah. Just you look ahead and every time you project yourself on this person, like other pretty soon, it kind of makes you not want to go there. It's self training, but at the same time, you have to learn how to not feel that way. Because if you're not, then you'll completely.
Right.
This is very, very helpful to kind of release that need, kind of shut down, like where I just shut down, sit down. Meditation is very, very powerful. It does. It has.
That's great. I'm really happy to hear so. And the more that you practice and everything, you're gonna find that not only is it helpful, but it becomes very blissful. And a lot of us maybe have not ever experienced that. And that's a part of the discipline. The more that you get more focused, more aware of all 5 of your senses, and eventually your meditation, what seems now like, oh, that's really helpful, it can really become super blissful. There are some people that really just bliss out on it, like that it's almost like a drug to them, because it's something that you can get to a certain point with, that it does offer such a blissful feeling. So that's definitely something to keep working towards. But I'm super happy to hear that you are using it to control the effects that the environment and people that kind of pull our energy and whatnot away. I do want to add that there is something that you may want to focus a little more about, is being attached but detached. So like when you're around people that, such as what you refer to as energy vampires, we can still share our energy with them, but have a detachment of the outcome of it. So like how they're going to perceive it or whatever. Like just make it really authentic. The things that you say, and when you share your energy and your insights with people, and have no expectations of it. And I think you're going to find that you're going to feel a lot less drained when dealing with certain people, because
Okay.
you're using omniversal energy versus your own energy. So when you're tapped into that placement of the sharing, because your intention's in the right place, and you're, so you are kind of using oneness energy versus. So of course there's two. You could share that with them, right? So they're not depleting your personal energy. You're tapping into that higher consciousness energy. And so that's something that you might want to, and we can talk more about it in the future of how that can help you, especially if you're feeling kind of drained from other people's energy. And as a Reiki master, that's something I have to know. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. So I do have to tap into that energy when I'm feeling being the tool that the divine is using to heal people. Otherwise, I would be subjected to everybody's energy, every element that I'm healing them and helping them heal from. I would be subjecting myself to that. So I can help you with that too, so that then you're more open to continue what you're doing, because if not, then you might be discouraged from opening yourself up energetically to these people, and that's not at all what we want. We want you to continue to help mankind. But there is certain ways that you can, yes, exactly. So there is ways that you can. Savannah, can you say hi to them? So yeah, there are certain things that you can do to help yourself in that way.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, because I definitely can relate. And very much there's a way that you can sometimes, like, even unintentionally, can pick up on the things that they're feeling. Like, and you can kind of pull that into yourself. Like, if you're around those people, and it's just like, I feel like that's one of the most draining things. I feel like they're talking about, like, all these things that they're dealing with, they're complaining, and they're, sometimes they're just, like, in a very mentally distraught place, and then, like, suddenly you're feeling very, compassionate about where they're at, what they're going through, and, like, it can bring you down. And, like, you're feeling like, well, yeah, that really isn't fair. Especially, like, for me, my mom is someone who is in a very unfair position. She and my dad are separated. She has problems with, like, her peripheral vision, so she can't drive places. And so, like, and a lot of times people won't really want to take time out of their schedule to drive her places. A lot of times that, like, can manifest in forms of, like, just, like, personal guilt or, like, shame. Or,
You hit it on the nail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar situation.
Right. So it's like, it can be hard to really, like, you pull in all this kind of negative energy around something like that, in a real bad place. And, like, unless you can really detach yourself, you're right there with them. Misery loves company.
Yes.
And
We were actually talking about that.
But like how someone, okay, so as humans, right, especially with families, right, we tend to try to carry something that a sibling, a daughter, a son, brother, going through, because it hurts them, so it hurts us. So we want to carry it for them. We want to take some of it from them. And then it's like, after you do that a couple of times, it's just eventually, like, draining. Like, it's not necessarily where they just need it, they expect it now. And, like, they just want to unload all their stuff on you. It's like, whoa, like, hold on.
Both of us were very similar.
Yes.
Yeah.
My mother,
Yeah.
her mother, they're both, like, very, very similar. Brother. Go there, it's like, it's almost like they just need us there. And
Yeah.
it's like,
We walked through the doors earlier, and we were both in such a good mood. We just felt toxicity. We're like, oh my god. And then I try to rationalize it to my mom. I'm like, well, she's just trying to carry their emotional weight of my stepfather and my brother. Like it's just a never ending.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel bad for her. So then I get put into a very agitated. Like I feel very agitated. So then I cut myself off of like trying to be positive until I get out of there. Once I walk out of those doors, I'm like I can breathe, and then like I have to re-energize to go back in there. So it's like we set a time limit on it. Like one day, all I can last at my mother's house, like over Christmas break is all.
It was 2 days.
2 days.
Like
Yes.
today, it was just 20 minutes. We get out.
He was
just
staring off his face like. I was like, "What's wrong with you?"
You're like, we missed our threshold. We're supposed to be gone already.
Yeah. He was just like in a daze. Like he didn't like. I was like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "Nothing." I'm like, "What's wrong with you?" Like I had to kind of pull it out of him, like what was wrong. But I know my mother in that sense too. Like she'll be like, "Oh, you gotta get a car because you're having a baby." We get the car. Oh, well, now that you got the car, you have to get the house.
And then she's like, "Oh, well, y'all are spending way too much money."
And it's like it with him, he's just only, so he's never had to deal with people emotional baggage or like he's had to do stuff for his mother like you have, like because she's medically like reduced, like can't, her hands are hurting, stuff like that. So, but with me, I grew up with a whole rack of things. So like I'm used to carrying everyone's emotional baggage on me. But now I'm at a point where I'm just real angry.
So it sounds like learning to be attached but unattached. So that sounds like something that you guys can both benefit from in your life. And like I said, we can get more into that. But essentially, it's sharing your wisdom, your energy, and your light, but not feeling like it's your responsibility to fix whatever this is or that's going on, or be like it's not necessarily the outcome. However things go down with them, it's not necessarily your responsibility. Therefore, you're not going to carry guilt on it. You're, it's not your full-time job that you're, meant to do or whatnot. So sharing your wisdom, your light, is great. But if you allow it and you get too invested in trying to and feel guilty about, oh, well, if I don't do this, they're gonna, X, Y, Z. So there is a certain thing that you can implement into your understanding of what is your responsibility towards these other people, and then you can get to a place of where you're still wanting to share and help, but detaching yourself from the outcomes and not feeling responsible for it, because at the end of the day, they're them, you're you, and you have no contract to use all your energy or spend your time in feeling guilty that over each situation. So there are some certain things that you can focus more on that can help you, and you'll be more joyful when you are helping and offering help that you want to offer, but you're not going to walk away feeling drained or guilty about not having done certain things, which sounds like it will be very good for y'all, especially that you're starting out in your marriage together and everything. So you do want to have very clear boundaries on what is your responsibility outside of the family. Of course, you want to be a good family member, but not at the detriment of your own happiness and your own energy and vibration. So there are boundaries that you can set, with them as well as for yourself. Okay, this is, like you said, a time frame. How long will we stay around? And you'll have to, that'll be for you personally. But I'm sure there's a certain amount of time that you're like, okay, this is about as much as I can handle. But when you start to implement these boundaries and the detachment a little bit more, you're going to find that you can be around them for as long as you wish, and they're not going to pull your energy energy in such a way.
That'd
And
be
you will
lovely.
start to lay out certain boundaries within the family where they're going to stop actually coming at you in certain ways. So there is some work to be done there, but it can help you tremendously. Yeah. So we talked about earlier in temple service about your kind of thing that causes you to be distracted when you're in meditation is the responsibilities of your family, the children. What is the children going to need? What's going to go on? You know, if you take some time to yourself. So would you like to talk on that a little bit more?
My daughter is a handful. I mean, but what 4-year-old isn't? And she's actually really, really good. But everything is new to her. So seeing us together is like kind of throwing her for a loop. So she's very needy. Very attached to my hip. So if I go to the room and I walk the door, she's gonna be underneath it, sliding stuff under the door. I'm sure you know.
Oh yeah.
But
oh yeah, for certain.
And so and it doesn't just end there. She wants to sleep with me because grandma lets her sleep with her. So it's like everything that you try to implement, it all goes out the window when you go to grandma. But when she comes back, but when she's not home, I have a lot of I'm tending to the house. Like he's working and like taking care of bills. I'm like doing all of the appointments, all of the setting up appointments to go to, making sure we have the right paperwork, making sure we get the right paperwork into certain organizations, just stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's very stressful, but I'm constantly thinking of like what needs to be done. And like kind of what my husband said earlier, like he's thinking about the future. I'm always on go, 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 go. And so I'm always a mile usually. I think that sometimes so sometimes I try to not mention certain things, but if it's on my head, like I have to just say it, or else I'll forget, or so like concentration and being able to get that minute. What she said before bed, I think I'm gonna try that, like right before you go to bed, or like maybe when I'm in the shower, or like I'll take a bath or something.
Yeah, is there any way like maybe you could do it early in the morning? Sometimes people start off the day with it.
Before your daughter wakes up, maybe while she's still no, she wakes up real early.
You wake up
She's not a
before-
morning.
She wakes up at
Okay.
4 a.m.
Yeah,
Oh
wake up at
goodness.
4.
Okay.
She gets up with me.
She wakes up with stepdad. But I do take her to school. She's in daycare, so I take her to school around 8. So I'm gonna try doing it after I drop her off before I go to. I did tell you I was hit by a car in November, right?
I don't remember you telling me that specifically,
Yeah,
but
so-
I'm glad that you're
Thank you.
okay.
But because of that, I'm going to so many doctor's appointments. I have 2 physical therapies a week. I have 3 specialists for my spine, my shoulder, and my knee. So it's like finding the time, kind of like, I don't want to touch base on that too. It's like, there's a fine line but on procrastination and trying to find the time,
Yeah.
like with your schedule. And then when you don't have a schedule, procrastination. You're like,
Yeah.
I really should be doing this. I'm just so tired.
Yeah, I personally, when I was younger, I would always think of it like, oh, well, I don't want to be all work and no play. Like, I want to have some time for myself. But, like,
Yeah.
there's a point where, like, the time for myself outweighs, like, what I need to do for myself. Like, I'm just like, well, I mean, I'm doing this thing that I enjoy. I don't really want to stop, but, like, I really could do some meditation. I really could just like take 5-10 minutes. It's not going to take too much out of the time that I have. It's not as big a deal as like maybe it seems. Like I really should like set a firm time for myself. Be like, okay, at like I'm doing this thing now, but at 9 o'clock I'm going to go ahead and I'll start burning the candle. I'll start, watching the candle for like at least 5 minutes. sitting there, meditating, breathing, collecting it. Then
That's a good idea.
30-second hertz music.
That is a good idea.
Yeah, and something else that I feel drawn to share is when you do you take that time, it's a form of self-love. When you do that, all the other things that you have to do during the day, the whole list of to-do stuff or whatever, that stuff is going to go so much smoother because you're almost like taking your power to be in a state of mind and in a calmness and grounded. So that's going to help in everything that you're doing after that. So it may seem like a task at first, first couple times, but then you're going to get proof how much smoother your day went because of it. And so, yeah, the first couple times you're going to have to almost set an alarm and say, okay, I'm doing this right now. But after first couple times, you're going to have proof. You're going to have some data that, yeah, after I did that, it may take you the third day or something to be like, wow, okay, on these 3 days, things went smoother for me. On this one day that I didn't do it, things were a little more chaotic. And so that's when it's going to get a lot easier when you start to see that data come in, that personal experience changing because of it. So yeah, it may seem like something that's kind of you have to schedule or whatever, but before long, you're going to be like, no, this is just as necessary for me as sleeping at night. That it is something that I really need to do to keep control over my thoughts, over my energy, over my today's reality, if that made sense to you. Because, we have our now, and that's a moment, that's our now, but we're creating our next nows by what we allow our mind to be thinking and our energy to be doing in this now. So, and that's when you do it a few times, it's going to take you a little bit to get some data about how it works for you. But once that data starts flying in, believe me, you're going to be a lot more motivated to do it. So it's just the beginning that you have to kind of push yourself to do it. Because after you start seeing the benefit and the growth, and how much more at ease your day goes when you do this, that's when it's going to get easier.
I was kind of forced into meditation about 4 years ago, and I got into it very deep. I was in the temple, but I was not around people. So for 3.5 years, so coming home and getting all the noise and distractions, it's different. So what you're saying is totally true. I know from living fact.
Yeah,
it's the noise, but what you're suggesting, I'm definitely going to try. I have not tried that. So,
yeah.
Like it's kind of like when you're trying to read and someone's talking in the background, or like you're trying to listen to something and also talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Like it can be hard to like really adjust to. Take some practice.
Yeah, awesome. So does anyone have any specific questions or anything that you would like to ask or whatever? We'll just leave the mic open for anybody that wants to speak now about anything.
When do you do Reiki? Like at another temple service or?
Well, I'm always available for appointments.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it's just set up an appointment with me. So I do many things within the kind of structure of that. So there's Reiki sessions, there's light and sound baths. We have the crystal essential oil sauna. I do cupping, hot stone massage. And so there's a good amount of things there that we offer, that I offer to help in that way. And then also something that a lot of people might not even think of is so healing, but it is the sit, paint, zens that we do.
Yeah.
Getting out of that, the brain for a little while and dropping into that creative flow. just does enormous things for you and your creativity of allowing certain things to flow, ideas later, answering problems or issues that you may have. You might not realize it, but after you do some creative artwork, a day or so later, you may realize, oh, I just had this answer to a question I've been pondering for a while. So dropping into that creative space is very helpful too. So we also do that for that reason. But yeah, we can definitely talk about scheduling some Reiki sessions, and depending on what your objective is. So one session or whatever your actual objective is, we can come up with a plan to get you to that objective. So yeah, we can talk about that afterwards if you'd like. Yeah.
Yeah, like I can vouch. I've actually been to a couple Reiki sessions, and I've actually tried out the crystal sauna recently. There's She's really good at what she does. It's really refreshing, really healing. I've also tried out. She has she has cupping and hot stone massage, and those are all both very good as well.
Yeah, for certain. For certain. Well, I just want to say thank y'all for joining in this discussion. I feel like the name of the podcast should be Enlightening Discussions. Because it's just kind of, it just kind of covers everything. So no matter what we're specifically talking about, that's still the idea here, is to reach enlightenment. But that's a continual process. The idea here is to start doing things, integrating the path in such a way that we free ourselves from some of this suffering that we bring upon ourselves by not taking our power and harnessing it in such a way. So that's what we're talking about and discussing here. And so I just want to thank y'all for doing things for yourself that are going to help you ultimately to be able to have a more joyous, more life of more harmony and eventually enlightenment. So yes, awesome. All right. So if no one else has anything else, I think we'll close it out here. All right. Thank y'all for joining on the live as well for our podcast. All right. Namaste.